They won't let me go, I love you. There's a key in the blue flower pot outside the door. That was the last text message Amanda Bearden, a 36-year-old woman living in Athens, Georgia, received from her mother, Debbie Collier, at 3:17 p.m., September 10, 2022. And that was the last time she heard from her mother. Just 22 hours later, Debbie's body was found at the bottom of a ravine near Tallulah Falls, nearly 60 miles from home. Partially naked, burned, still clutching a small tree trunk. We're not talking about an accident, not a natural death. This is a tragedy orchestrated by invisible hands where not only the dead are the victims, but the entire living family is pushed into hell with her. Around 3 p.m., a security camera at a family dollar store in the small town of Clayton, Georgia, captured Debbie, wearing a red Georgia Bulldogs football jersey and shorts, looking neat and alert entering the store. She purchased a red shopping bag, a blue tarp, a lighter, and a disposable raincoat. About 15 minutes later, she left the store, climbed into a rented black Chrysler Pacifica minivan, and disappeared. The camera captured Debbie sitting in the car for about 10 minutes, during which time she sent a Venmo message with a farewell message to her daughter. Amanda received $2,385 and the following sentence: "They won't let me go." Let's pause here for a moment. Who were they? Why did Debbie send the money right before she died? Why did a woman with no history of depression, no mental illness, suddenly set herself on fire in the woods after transferring money to her daughter? Or is there something else to the story that we don't know? At 6 p.m. that night, Steve Collier, Debbie's husband, called 911. His voice was worried but restrained. "I don't know where my wife is. Her rental car is gone. Her papers, wallet, driver's license are still at home. Amanda, my daughter, got a strange text message. They won't let me go," something like that. He emphasized, Debbie was not mentally ill, not on medication, had no reason to leave. A 59-year-old woman, stable, taking care of the house, just celebrated her birthday last week, suddenly disappeared, transferred money, said goodbye, and disappeared. The police recorded the incident, but at that time no one realized that this investigation would tear a family apart. The next morning, Amanda, still unable to sit still, called the police repeatedly. She was confused, frantic, her voice choked up. "I don't want to bother you, I just want to find my mom. I have the rental car, I can track the GPS. I don't know what else I can do." You could feel the fear in her every breath. Can a child who receives a final text from her mother, then loses contact with her completely, can she calm down? But then things got strange. When asked about her mother's wallet, Amanda insisted. Debbie's wallet and cards were still at home. However, when police found Debbie's body the next day, the wallet and phone were found right next to her. What does that mean? Someone was lying. Thanks to the SiriusXM signal from the rental car, the police located the coordinates, a desolate stretch of Route 15, near the Tallulah Falls mountain area. When the police arrived, they found the minivan open, empty, and empty. Amanda was called to the scene and she screamed when she saw her mother's car, but Debbie wasn't in the car, so where had she gone? The K9 unit was called in. And then, amid the damp brush and trees, they discovered a red bag lying on its side next to an uprooted tree. Traces of a small fire, a charred blue tarp, and finally a female body, charred at the stomach, lying on its back, clutching a tree trunk. At this point, the police began to ask questions. Why did Debbie buy the same items found at the scene of her death? Why did she go to Clayton, a place nearly 60 miles from home, when there was a convenience store less than a mile away? Why did Amanda's account of her wallet and phone not match? And why did she send money and a goodbye note via Venmo before she died? The answer seemed to lie not in the woods, but in Debbie's own family. This is not just a suicide. This is a tragedy, a maze where every answer leads to a locked door. In the next part, we will peel back the layers of Debbie Collier's past, find out who was the last person to see her alive, her broken relationships, and whether the killer was someone closest to her. Have you ever imagined that, on a normal day, the house you still live in peacefully will suddenly become the center of the whole country? A peaceful countryside where everyone knows each other, neighbors still stop by to give each other cakes on the weekend, now has become the scene of a national tragedy. That is the story in Athens, Georgia, where Debbie Collier used to live. Debbie Collier, 59, is a typical American wife and mother. She lives with her husband, Steve Collier, 67, in a small, quiet house on Rocky Drive, Athens. They have been married for more than 9 years, each with children. Debbie has 2 children. Amanda Bearden, 36, who received her mother's last text message. Jeffrey Bearden, 33, lives in Maryland. Steve also has 2 children and 2 grandchildren. Every weekend, the family gathers for dinner, talks, a life that seems carefree. Here, people don't lock their doors, kids ride their bikes in the middle of the street, and if a stranger walks by, you're asked, "Who are you looking for?" But everything has changed. Forever. Saturday, September 10, 2022 started like any other weekend. Steve woke up early, ready to go to the parking lot of the University of Georgia, where he worked temporarily during a football game. He remembers clearly that when he left, Debbie was still asleep. Her rental car was still parked in the yard. It was a black Chrysler Pacifica, which Debbie rented from Enterprise because her personal car was being repaired. A minor accident with a truck that dropped a paint can and damaged the front end. Steve left the house before 9 a.m., worked until 4 p.m. and returned home. But when he returned, Debbie and the rental car were gone. He didn't suspect anything. He thought she had simply gone out to get some groceries as usual. Until Amanda Bearden knocked on the door. Amanda told Steve that she had just received a strange Venmo message. Debbie had sent $2,385 with the message, "They won't let me go. There's a key in the blue flower pot by the door. I love you." Just reading it was enough to give you goosebumps, but at the time, it was all just vague anxiety. Amanda ran up to her mother's room, checked her wallet, credit cards, ID, everything was intact. Only the phone and the car were gone. Steve immediately called 911. The police came to the house. They didn't immediately consider it a crime, because as the police officer told Amanda, she's an adult. Adults can go wherever they want. A seemingly true statement, but now it was like a knife cutting into the hearts of her loved ones. That night, Amanda did not sleep. She called the Athens police again and again. Her voice was panicked and choked. "I have the rental contract number. They can track the GPS. I don't know what else to do. Should I hire a private investigator?" The police have not yet confirmed this as a missing persons concern. On Sunday morning, about 36 hours after Debbie disappeared, a SiriusXM radio employee, the company that connects vehicles to the service, called the police. They had just located the minivan's coordinates. A deserted road near Tallulah Falls, about 60 miles from Athens. The police immediately deployed a search party. When the police cars arrived, a chill ran down their spines. The minivan was open, sitting silently in the woods. There was no sign of a struggle, no blood, no Debbie. As soon as Amanda arrived on the scene, she yelled, "That's my mom's car." The canine unit immediately spread out, and then, under an uprooted tree, they found a red bag matching the one Debbie had bought the day before. A small fire that had just died down. A scorched blue tarp. And the charred body of a woman lying on her back, her stomach burned, her hands still clutching the small stump. It was Debbie Collier. She was naked, surrounded by items she had bought herself at the Family Dollar in Clayton, a store just a few minutes' drive from the scene. The police were starting to panic. In her initial report, Amanda had said her mother's wallet and papers were at home, but at the scene, the police had collected the wallet, Debbie's phone, all the credit cards. So what was going on? Did someone move the wallet after Amanda checked? Or was it never there like Amanda had said? To the police, this was no longer a missing persons case. This was a targeted murder. And suspicions began to surround the last person who had contact with Debbie, Amanda Bearden. Amanda's past soon began to surface. She had lived near her brother Jeffrey in Maryland, but had returned to Georgia just 2 days before her mother's disappearance. Amanda and her boyfriend, Andrew Jagerich, had a history of domestic violence, with police intervening several times. Andrew had accused Amanda of drug abuse, theft, and disorderly conduct. Amanda had also been arrested for false reporting, battery, and drug test fraud. All of which led the community to ask, was the last transfer a bribe? Or was Debbie forced to do it? In the middle of this seemingly peaceful countryside, something had been rotten inside for a long time, and now, the truth was just ashes waiting to be blown away by the wind. The camera footage that doesn't match, the screams of the final night, the lies that can't be hidden forever, and who the real killer is. Do you remember Debbie's last words? They won't let me go. There's a key in the blue flower pot. I love you. A strange text message, a cash payment via Venmo, a burned body in the woods. But the scariest thing is Debbie's death. It's the lies that begin to come out. And the liars are the ones who love her the most. Amanda Bearden, the daughter who just lost her mother, is becoming the center of suspicion for the whole country. Because when you're the last person to talk to the victim, when you're the one who received $2,385 just minutes before her death, when you've been arrested for beating your boyfriend, drug fraud, filing a false police report, everyone looks at you as the culprit. And what's more, locals began to tell forgotten secrets. A neighbor who lived next door to Debbie told the media, the night before she disappeared, there was a loud argument coming from the house. That's not unusual, but this time I heard a young woman screaming. The neighbor added, there was a young woman who came over on the weekends. They were arguing loudly. The door was closed, but the voice echoed through the night. No one could confirm that it was Amanda, but the timing and circumstances matched. On September 10, a Family Dollar in Clayton caught a woman wearing a red shirt, red pants, and a crossbody bag walking in. Time of recording, 2:54 p.m. right before Debbie sent the Venmo. She bought blue tarp, red bag, lighter, raincoat. All were found next to the body. But there was one thing Debbie's son, Jeffrey Bearden, couldn't accept. The person in that video doesn't look like my mom. The posture, the way she walked, it's not her. He suspected the video was staged or faked, or someone had disguised themselves as Debbie to buy the items. The day after Debbie's body was discovered, a Fox News reporter walked around the crime scene and found something surprising: an unfired bullet lying about 20 meters away from the scene. They turned it over to the police. But since then, no investigative report has mentioned it. The question is, where did that bullet come from? Did someone bring a gun but not have time to use it? Or did the police deliberately ignore it? Skepticism in the community began to skyrocket. Do you remember? Amanda told the police clearly, my mom's wallet is in the room. She didn't have any papers, cards with her. But when the police arrived at the scene, they found the wallet next to Debbie's body. It still had papers, credit cards, a phone. So what really happened? 1. Amanda lied. 2. Someone took the purse home from the crime scene and then returned to set it up. 3. Or were the police mistaken from the start? 1 mismatch might be an oversight. 2 details are odd. But 3, 4, 5, that was a plan. After an hours-long interrogation, where Amanda was blamed to her face as the murderer by investigators, she volunteered to provide a DNA sample. So did her boyfriend, Andrew Jagerich. Amanda shared, I don't need a lawyer. I want to prove my innocence. My mother was murdered and I want justice for her. At that moment, the community was divided into 2 halves. One half believed Amanda was a victim just wrongly accused. The other half believed she knew more than she said. 6 weeks later, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation (GBI) issued an official press release. Based on the evidence at the scene, the records, the forensic examination, and the medical examiner, it is determined. Debbie Collier's death was a suicide. Causes: inhalation of hot gases, thermal burns, hydrocodone intoxication, a powerful painkiller. This conclusion was a slap in the face to everyone following the case, because no one believed. A 59-year-old woman with no history of depression set herself on fire in the woods, sending money to her daughter beforehand and texting, "They won't let me go." Jeffrey Bearden, Debbie's son, disagrees. He posted a lengthy Facebook post about his hostile phone call with the Habersham County Sheriff. Jeffrey wrote, "I was laughed at. I just wanted to know the progress of the investigation. Instead, they laughed at me, citing staff shortages. I have no faith in justice." In a video shared later, Jeffrey made it clear, "I will not stop. I will find the person who killed my mother. Prisoner or death row, I don't care." If Debbie committed suicide, why did she buy a tarp, a bag, a raincoat, a lighter? Why did she send money to her daughter? Why did she text, "They won't let me go"? Who are they? If Debbie was murdered, why was there no sign of a struggle? Why did she buy the items at the store near the scene? Why did the cameras show her looking calm? Behind the Debbie Collier case is a web of conflict, secrets, and things no one dares to say. Someone knows the truth. And that person is still at large. A verdict, a press release, a suicide death, and that's it. No arrests, no prosecution, no one standing in court saying, "I'm guilty." Just a mother lying on the cold ground and a family broken beyond repair. With the state's Bureau of Investigation's suicide verdict, there was no trial, no charges, no defendants. Why? There was no evidence of a third party being involved. No physical signs of a struggle. There were no injuries other than burns. That's what the autopsy report said. But to Debbie's family, especially her son Jeffrey, it all made no sense. "My mom would never do that. She didn't overdose on painkillers. She was afraid of fire. And she loved life. She loved her family," Jeffrey wrote in an emotional post. He said, "Debbie had just bought movie tickets with friends next week. She had just planned to celebrate her 60th birthday. And she had no history of depression, anxiety, or disorientation." Steve Collier, Debbie's husband of nearly a decade, has spoken to the public. He has disappeared from the media, locked all his accounts, and cut off contact with journalists. He is said to still live in Athens, but no one has actually seen him outside of his neighbors. Amanda Bearden, the prime suspect, was cleared after providing DNA and completing interviews. She said, "I didn't kill my mother, I love her. If I were asked 1,000 times, I would still say the same thing." Police confirmed that Amanda is no longer a suspect. She was given back the $2,385 Debbie had sent her. She moved out of the house, not saying where she was going. But one thing stuck out in many people's minds. Why did the last text say, "They won't let you go"? Who were they? Why was Amanda the only one to receive the Venmo? And why was she near the scene when police found the car? Her son, Jeffrey Bearden, was the only one to speak up for his mother. Not only did he publicly confront the police, he also called for an independent investigation, asked the FBI to get involved, and denounced the lack of transparency in the handling of the case. "I don't need anyone to go to jail to feel better," he said. "I just want to know what happened to my mother, who was the last person to see her alive." Jeffrey admitted that he no longer speaks to Amanda. He no longer considers her family, and since losing his mother, he has not been himself. In Athens, where Debbie lives, a small garden was built outside the city library. A small sign reads, "In loving memory of Debbie Collier, a kind heart, a tragic end." No one cut the ribbon. There was no formal ceremony. Just a few friends, a few neighbors, quietly planting flowers, erecting a stone statue, and leaving the words, "Oh, you deserved better. Oh, she deserved better." What does the Debbie Collier case teach us? One, investigations don't always lead to justice. 2. The truth is sometimes not what is found, it's what is hidden. 3. We should be suspicious, even of those closest to us. If you hear someone say, they won't let me go, don't ignore it. If someone disappears and the trail is too neat, don't believe in suicide so easily. Remember the opening lines. Debbie Collier texted, they won't let me go, I love you. And then silence. To this day, the questions remain. Who were they? How did mom really die? And if it was your mother, your sister, your wife, would you accept the answer as suicide when all the evidence says otherwise? Ask yourself this. If you were Debbie, would you believe that justice would come? This is the case of Debbie Collier. A mother gone in silence, a final message left unsaid, a family torn apart, and a truth that has never been revealed. What do you think, suicide or murder in disguise? Leave a comment. And if you think this story needs